Do you believe that police agencies around the country are targeting young black men to hurt them?
I do not. But here's what I do believe. I do not. We agree. But here's what I do believe. What I do believe is that too often in these conversations, you and others suggest every time one of these incidents happens that it's an isolated incident. My question to you, Bill O'Reilly, is how many isolated incidents equal a pattern?
All right. Joining us now to continue that conversation is David Swerdlick. And his first time I'm introducing you, David, as assistant editor at the Washington Post. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.
No,
good.
You deserve it, and I know you're not settled in, and I appreciate you taking time out to do this. All right. So let's talk about this. You wrote a piece for Huffington Post. No, this is not you. But do you buy into the fact that these recent shootings and incidents that we see on video cam, either private or dash cam, are represent a culture of police violence?
So, Steve, right, I didn't write that piece, but I did see that piece, and I saw the segment on O'Reilly as well. To answer your question, if you don't want to use the word pattern, fine. You and I have talked about this before, but how many isolated incidents does it take before people say these aren't just isolated incidents? That's my question, right? I mean, you have Marlene Pinnock, the woman who got beaten on the side of the road in L.A. by a highway patrol officer, Ezell Ford in L.A., John Crawford in Ohio, Tamir Rice in Ohio. You have North Charleston. You have this Tulsa taser incident. You have Eric Garner in Staten Island, on and on and on. There's enough incidents, and many that I can't name, where at least you have to entertain the idea that there's a pattern going on here.
All right. Well, Eric Gardner, we could dispute, because the cops were found not to have done anything wrong. I mean, again, if you look at you have to take everything on a percentage basis, and if you look at the percentage, if you add all these incidents up, and how many police officers there are in this country, I mean, you're going to come up with a minuscule amount. Now, don't get me wrong. Any bad cop should be, weeded out and should be fired. And if he broke the law or she broke the law, they should be punished. But, I mean, is the 400, I think the latest statistics that I saw today on a CNN hit was, I don't know if it was what year it was for, probably the most recent available. And I know that statistically, it's percentage-wise, it's more for blacks and whites. But 440 some odd whites killed, it said 320 something blacks killed. So, I mean, is it a racial thing?
It's a couple of things, Steve. First of all, as soon as you started talking about those statistics, I thought of a couple of things. One is it's not always someone getting killed. Sometimes it's just brutality. My mind immediately goes to that 2011 incident where the UC Davis police pepper sprayed a whole bunch of student protesters, many of whom I think were white. Sometimes it's people being tasered and not shot. I think if there's a pattern, it's not that it's this strict pattern of white cops, unarmed black men being shot and killed, although I do think there's a pattern within the pattern, but it's this broader pattern of police who are on the clock, being paid public servants, working for the taxpayers, losing their cool in a lot of these instances, and people getting hurt when, look, if you have to effect an arrest, if you have to write a ticket, that is one thing. But to brutalize people or to escalate the situation, there is a trend, there is a pattern in my mind, Steve, of this going on. And, I won't debate Eric Garner with you right now, but I would just say we fundamentally do not agree on that.
Okay. Here's the thing. Police have a tough job, and any time a person is resisting arrest, in one way or another, whether it's by running, whether it's by saying, you're not going to touch me, get off me, shaking the cop off, whatever, that opens up a whole, this is not to take, you can cite instances and say, well, did it warrant that? I'm not arguing that. I'm saying there's obviously by virtue of, by virtue of these videos, we're also finding a culture of disobeying the police, of resisting arrest, of running from the cops, of being disrespectful to the cops. That's a problem when you're a cop and you don't know if that person is armed or not and they're resisting you. That opens a door for you to do a lot of things.
Steve, if you're a peaceful campus protester and you're sitting there, you should not be pepper sprayed in the face. If you're running away unarmed from a police officer from 20 or 30 feet away, you should not be shot 8 times in the back. If you're being cited for selling loose cigarettes, you should not be choked to death on a sidewalk.
All right, well, again, choked to death, mitigating circumstances, the coroner, the medical examiners, there were lots of medical reports, examiners' reports. Again, I don't want to go into that one. But again, every one of these, every one of the ones you just mentioned, are a result. That I'm just saying, that South Carolina cop, I don't know what's going to happen to him. But wait, he couldn't have been more respectful, polite, explanatory. He was perfect gentleman to that guy that he wound up shooting. What happened when it was off camera, I have no idea. But again, the guy ran. Why don't we address the culture where people run and resist arrest, David?
Steve, the law allows police to use deadly force to protect themselves and to protect the lives of others. It does not allow them to use deadly force just to effect an arrest that they couldn't otherwise effect because the person is running away.
No, but
that's
that's not the point. But sometimes I'm just saying these things escalate because people resist arrest or run from the police or hit a cop or shoot at a cop. Just teach people not to do that. Wouldn't that go a long way towards... Don't you believe that's a problem?
Teach people how to interact with police.
Teach them to obey police.
And teach police not to shoot people in the back when they're running away.
But that's ridiculous. That happens so infrequently. Teach cops not to shoot people in the back. For crying out loud, I've seen cops in New York be spit on recently and cursed at, and they stand there and they take it.
No, if the people spit on them, those people should be arrested. I'm not condoning.
But then a struggle will ensue, and a video will be shot. And why do they need 3 cops to hit that man and arrest? Because they don't know if he's armed, because he's not obeying, because he's resisting. Don't you see?
Steve, if there's an incident where someone spit on someone, where a suspect spit on a cop, the cop tried their best to peacefully apprehend them, and they wouldn't be apprehended, then show me that video.
That's what Eric Gardner wouldn't be apprehended.
No, Steve, we are just not going to agree about
it. But did he resist arrest? David, did he resist arrest?
So first,
did he resist arrest?
No.
No? Okay.
Steve, I don't think he resisted arrest. I acknowledge and
he said, you're not going to take me.
No, Steve, I concede that police see it that way, but even if I were to grant that it was resisting arrest, 7 cops on the scene should be able to arrest one man, even if he's a big man, without that guy getting put in a chokehold and ultimately dying.
Well, the jury decided it wasn't a chokehold. Listen, congratulations, David. Come back as soon as you're settled in, and we'll talk more.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, David Swerdlick, ladies and gentlemen.